Welcome back to the Lone Road iRacers podcast. I'm your host, Guy Robertson. And if you're like most iRacers, you're always looking for ways to improve. Today we're tackling two of the hottest topics in the iRacing world. How to gain iRating and improve your safety rating. These two scores aren't just numbers, not to us the sim racers. They shape the experience you have on the platform and the type of competitors you'll face. Whether you're working your way up the ranks or just trying to stay clean, your iRating and safety rating impact everything. But while everyone wants to improve, there's often a lot of confusion about the best way to do it. Today we're breaking down practical tips for building both ratings effectively. We'll also bust some myths along the way, misconceptions that can actually slow your progress if you're not careful. By the end of this episode, you'll have actionable tips to help boost ratings, or both ratings, and we'll clear up the most common misunderstandings to set you up for success. So buckle up and let's hit the track. Alright, let's start by getting clear on what iRating and safety rating really mean. For new iRacers, this can be confusing, especially because both ratings matter but are based on different things. iRating is all about skill, your performance relative to other drivers. When you finish well against competitors with higher iRatings, your score climbs. It's a dynamic measure of your racing abilities and where you stack up in the field. So a high iRating means you are proving your skills consistently, not just in one race. On the other hand, safety rating is your indicator of clean, incident-free racing. Every incident from a minor off-track to a crash adds up in a race. The fewer incidents you have, the more likely your safety rating will rise. This rating is all about discipline and avoiding unnecessary risks. The catch is sometimes that the goals for each rating can conflict. For example, you may need to drive aggressively to gain iRating, which can increase your risk of incidents and potentially hurt your safety rating. Understanding how to balance these is key to progressing overall, and in today's episode I'll share tips for getting that balance just right. So with that in mind, let's dive into specific ways to boost your iRating without sacrificing safety rating. Now that we've defined iRating, let's explore some tips for boosting it effectively. First and foremost, pick races that play to your strengths. iRacing offers a wide range of cars and tracks, and not everyone excels in every category. Myself, I favour the Formula license on certain tracks, and I also drive the sports car license on some specific cars and tracks as well. So you need to be a little bit more pinpointed. Some drivers, like me, are better on road courses, while others thrive on ovals. If you know you're stronger in one area, stick to races that align with that. Racing on familiar tracks where you're comfortable will give you a natural edge. Second, you don't need to aim for first place every race. How many of us have got a win percentage of 2% or less? Probably most iRacers. It's natural to want to win, but if you're in a race with highly skilled drivers, sometimes a top 5 or even a top 10 finish can still improve your iRating. The system calculates gains based on the iRatings of everyone in the race, so placing well in a strong field can be just as beneficial as winning a weaker race. Tip 3. Don't take big risks early in the race. The start is one of the riskiest times, with everyone bunched together and adrenaline high. If you play it smart and stay calm in those early laps, you'll avoid getting caught in common early race crashes. Once the field spreads out, it's much easier to make a clean pass without risking an incident. Now, for me, that's one strategy I really do recommend. We all see lap 1 and some degree lap 2 and even 3 where your tyres are still warming up. You've got people trying to win the race from corner 1. It can't be done. So there's a lot of crashes, a lot of damaged cars. So in those early laps, just relax, take positions where there are opportunities, but safely, but keep your car safe. That gives you the best possible scenario to finish the race strong. Another essential strategy is to observe your competition closely. Take note of who's fast, who's aggressive, and who's a little bit unpredictable. If you know a driver tends to make risky moves, you can be prepared to give them more space, or let them pass even. Picking up on these patterns helps you decide when to fight for a position and when to let drivers pass. And we all see those two drivers ahead who are battling for position, and how often do we see them collide because not one of them is willing to give a position up, and they both are off to the pits and lets you through. But you can sense that on the track with some experience. Finally, don't underestimate the power of focused practice. Spend time on the tracks you're competing on, particularly sections where you struggle. Practice consistency on braking points and throttle control. If you're more consistent with the competition, you'll find yourself finishing higher up more often. With these strategies in mind, you're set to see your iRating climb, but remember, consistency is key. Now let's talk about boosting that all-important safety rating. We're going to switch gears now into safety rating, which is just as crucial, especially if you want to keep advancing through license levels and assessing higher level series. With safety rating, clean incident-free racing is the name of the game. The first tip is to focus on finishing races cleanly, even if it means giving up a position and possibly even losing a bit of iRating. A key to high safety rating is minimizing incident points. Sometimes letting a faster driver pass can save you from contact and keep your safety rating intact. Remember, it's about long-term gains rather than a single racer's results. Next, if you're in a field with drivers who seem unpredictable, consider starting from the back. This may sound strange, but it's a great way to avoid the chaos of the opening laps. If your goal is to gain safety rating, hanging back can give you a cleaner race with less chance of incidents. As drivers ahead make mistakes, you can often gain positions without taking risks. And we all can do that by even starting in the pits. Not qualifying, but then you're still at risk of being put maybe mid-pack if other people are doing the same kind of strategy. So for me personally, when I've been close to demotion, I've used the strategy of starting from the pits, staying completely out of the way for the first lap at least, and it's surprising how many positions you gain still with 0x. So there's one strategy I strongly recommend. Another good habit is to review your incidents. After each race, go back and watch any replays of incidents. Did you go off the track? Did you brake too late? Often reviewing these moments can reveal patterns you may not notice during the race, like consistent cutting corners or missing braking points. Here's another big one. Avoid high-risk overtakes. Going for an aggressive pass might seem tempting, but increases your chance of contact. Focus on clean overtakes when you're confident in the move. Remember, for safety rating, a cautious approach often pays off more than trying to squeeze into tight gaps. Lastly, be mindful of rejoining the track. If you go off, don't rush back on without checking for traffic using your relative. An unsafe rejoin leads to avoidable incidents and can seriously harm your safety rating. Take a second, ensure it's clear and re-enter smoothly to avoid contact. Following these tips can make a real difference to your safety rating. Now that we've covered ways to boost both ratings, let's debunk some myths that are holding people back. Alright, time to do some myth busting. There are quite a few myths out there about iRating and safety rating, and it's easy to fall into these traps if you're not careful. Myth 1. Higher iRating automatically means someone's a better driver. We all think that to start with. Now, I can remember coming out of D class into C class, thinking, well, when I get to A class, the driving skill is going to be so good, I'm going to get 0 X's. It wasn't the case at all. In fact, actually, some of the driving is worse, which is a shame to say, but that's reality. Sorry about the phone noise there, I've just turned it off. So it definitely isn't better from an X point of view. Maybe there's more aggression and more experience, but they're definitely not better drivers. That a higher iRating equates to more skill, but in reality it only reflects their performance in races relative to their competition. Some drivers may have mastered certain tracks or events that help them climb faster, so while it's an achievement, iRating alone doesn't tell the full story. Myth number 2. Avoiding races protects your safety rating. This myth keeps a lot of drivers from improving, while taking fewer risks doesn't avoid accidents or incidents. The best way to increase your safety rating is by consistently practicing clean racing. Getting out there and learning how to handle difficult situations will help you improve much more than sitting on the sidelines. Myth number 3. Qualifying doesn't matter for safety rating. This myth keeps a lot of drivers from improving. Qualifying doesn't matter for safety rating. Qualifying actually plays a big role. By starting at the front, you're less likely to get caught up in a mid-pack chaos at the start of a race. Higher starting positions can help you have a smoother, safer race, so don't underestimate the value of a good qualifying run. Finally, myth number 4. You need to grind hours every day to make real progress. While times on the track and in the sim and matters, consistency is more valuable than sheer hours. Even short focused sessions where you can concentrate on problem areas or a specific skill or a corner can yield quicker results than unfocused long practice sessions. So to wrap this section up, our tips are here on gaining iRating and safety rating and debunking the common myths. Hopefully these insights will help you make steady, sustainable progress toward your goals in iRacing. Remember, improving these ratings takes time and patience. By sticking to clean, consistent driving habits, a lot of interesting facts to help you gain iRating and safety rating, and even more for the experienced drivers out there. It might just open up a few thoughts you had many moons ago about how I should be driving to gain iRating and safety rating. We're back in a second for our second topic. Our second subject tonight is all about, from a beginner in iRacing's point of view, what is the best tracks to kind of learn your trade as being an iRacer. Very difficult when you come on the service, what tracks to race, what tracks to purchase, which ones are really going to benefit you from an early point of view in your iRacing career. So we're going to touch on that subject. So whether you're new to iRacing or just want to refine your skills, this topic will cover beginner-friendly tracks along with practical tips to help you learn and excel on each of them. So for new drivers, mastering your first few tracks is essential for building confidence, improving car control, and developing the techniques that will carry you through more challenging circuits. We're going to break down some of the most popular beginner tracks and go over key sections to watch out for, tips to keep your lines clean, and strategies to boost your lap times. So here we go. We're going to start with Okayama International Circuit on the full course. It's one of the most popular circuits for beginners. The Okayama International Circuit is in Japan. Okayama is often loved by new drivers for its relatively simple layout, wide track and forgiving runoff areas. These features make it an ideal place to learn the basics without risking too many incidents. So what are the key sections to focus on at Okayama? First, the hairpin. It's a tight, low-speed turn that can make or break your lap. For new drivers, the best approach is to brake early and avoid over-rotating the car. Focus on a smooth exit to build speed for the following straight. Another critical part of the track is Atwood Curve. It's a sweeping corner that requires a balanced throttle and steering input to keep your line smooth. Practicing here helps with car control and can give you a huge boost in lap time. A tip for Okayama is patience is key. Don't rush your throttle application, especially in tight corners. Practice keeping your line smooth and controlled. Okayama rewards consistency over aggression, so keep that in mind and you'll be cutting down your lap times within no time. Our second track is another famous one, Laguna Seca, with the iconic corkscrew. A track that's globally recognised for its famous corkscrew. The California track is often a favourite for beginners, offering a mix of challenging and flowing sections that teach fundamental racing skills. The corkscrew, of course, is probably the trickiest part of Laguna Seca. This steep downhill left-right chicane requires precise braking and quick reflexes to handle properly. The best tip here is to brake hard just before the top, turn in carefully and let the car roll down the hill. Trying to take the corkscrew too aggressively often leads to overshooting the turn or spinning out. The Andretti hairpin is another spot to focus on. It's a wide double apex corner that challenges your braking and turning. For new drivers, try to brake early, aim for a smooth line through both apexes and focus on maintaining speed as you exit. A learning tip for Laguna Seca is that practice throttle control. This track rewards drivers who stay smooth, especially through complex turns like the corkscrew and rainy curve. Keep practicing these sections and you'll soon find Laguna Seca becoming easier and faster lap times lap by lap. Track number 3, Summit Point Raceway, and again the full course. Summit Point Raceway is another beginner-friendly track. Summit Point is perfect for new drivers who want to practice smooth driving and consistency without too many technical challenges. The first corner, known as Turn 1 or the Carousel, is a sweeping right-hander that leads into a long straight. It's crucial to get this turn right, as a good exit will help you gain speed down the straight. Try braking a little earlier here to turn in smoothly and focus on maintaining speed as you exit. Then there's the Hesses, ESSES, a series of fast flowing turns that require rhythm and control. This section is a great place for new drivers to learn about weight transfer and balance. Practice keeping the car stable through the S's, focusing on smooth steering inputs. A tip for Summit Point, keep it consistent. This track rewards drivers who stay disciplined with their lines and don't over push the car. Stay calm and work on building speed gradually. By mastering the basics here, you'll be setting yourself up for more technical tracks later on. Circuit number 4, Tsukuba Circuit, the short but demanding version. Now let's head to Japan's Tsukuba Circuit, known for its compact layout and tight turns. Despite its short length, Tsukuba is deceptively tricky and a fantastic training ground for car control and precision. The Turn 1 hairpin at Tsukuba is where a lot of new drivers struggle. It's tight and requires careful braking to avoid understeering. A Tip here is to brake a bit earlier than you think you need to and keep a tight throttle on exit to avoid spinning. A light throttle even. Another important section is the long turn 8. The sweeping right hand corner is where you can build a lot of momentum if you hit the entry right. Practice finding the correct lines here to carry as much speed as possible into the final straight. Tips here for beginners: focus on maintaining your rhythm at Tsukuba. Its short lap time means that you'll be back at each turn before you know it. Use this to your advantage by repeating each section over and over. You'll quickly see improvement as you get more familiar with the layout. Track number 5, VIR or Virginia International Raceway South Course. The South Course, it offers a nice mix of turns and straights, helping you refine skills like braking and throttle control. Turn 1, also called Horseshoe, is a wide, slow turn where beginners often struggle. Aim to brake early and gradually feed the throttle on exit. It's a great turn for practicing smooth inputs. Another critical part of VIR South is the uphill section leading to a blind right-hander. It can be intimidating, but the trick is to find your brake point early and commit to your line. You'll build confidence with each lap. Tips for VIR: stay relaxed and consistent. This track can be a bit unforgiving if you push too hard, so focus on smooth driving and gradually build up your pace. VIR South's excellent for developing the kind of precision you'll need for more complex circuits. And our final track, track number 6, is Alton Park. One of my favourites on the service. A track that's a bit more challenging but very rewarding to learn. It's a technical track with elevation changes, tight corners and a unique flow, which can be intimidating, but it's well worth the effort to master it. One of the trickiest sections is Cascades, a sweeping left-hander that leads into a fast straight. The key here is throttle control. Keep it smooth and aim to carry speed while running wide. Getting this turn right sets you up for a good lap time. Sorry, that is without running wide, by the way. Another challenging section is the chicane, or at least, it's got probably 2 chicanes on the track depending on the layout. This part requires precision and timing to keep your line clean. Practice braking early and avoid hitting the curbs too hard, as they can clearly and easily unsettle the car. Tip for beginners at Alton Park is don't rush it. This track rewards patience and learning each corner individually. Work on mastering sections one at a time. You'll soon find the flow that makes this track honestly so enjoyable. So we're going to wrap up this section now. So these tracks on here are also very popular on iRacing as well. So you're going to see a lot of other beginners and even experienced drivers on these tracks. So talk to people while you're in the practice session about where you are struggling. If you're struggling on certain sections of those tracks, people are always willing to help, whether it's a fixed or an open setup. If you're a beginner, also look for people to join Discords as well. You'll get some free one-to-one tuition, I'm sure, through the people and the iRacing community. So they're the tracks that I would recommend if you're a newbie into iRacing, to go and learn the trade and hopefully get you set up for improving your safety rating and iRating as quick as possible. FIA SimMagic Esports Global Championship Series is coming to its climax with races 7 and 8. The final two races in the 2024 FIA SimMagic F4 Esports Global Championship Series takes place on November the 2nd. The 30 top-ranked competitors from a trio of competing regions will go against one another for the final time in the 4-event, 8-race season, battling for their chance at winning a share of $25,000 prize pool. During a 12-week period in 2024 iRacing Season 3, the three representing regions, which were Americas, Asia Pacific and Europe, determine their best 10 drivers through an iRacing official series points competition. Each region sends forth their top 10 from the final points, and if a driver from a particular region drops out for any reason, the next qualifying driver comes from the same region from the points results. The official iRacing eSport features fixed setup racing through all 8 races, and the schedule is kept locked until the day before the particular race. So, for championship races 7 and 8, the tracks are Fuji and Watkins Glen. Just a reminder, in the last event 3 weeks ago, in the 5th and 6th races of the 2024 season, the championship battle tightened up against 3 drivers, leaving the races at Willow Springs and Spa. Spain's Aaron Vasquez took the lead of the championship with another pair of podium finishers, while Spain's Alexandro Sanchez and Great Britain's Geordie Much scored their first wins of the season at Willow and Spa respectively. While Much doesn't have too much of a chance at the title, Great Britain's Luke McEwen is still in contention against Vasquez and Sanchez entering the finale. Just a reminder, so with 2 races on the docket, drivers will need to be ready to jump from track to track on race day. The first race event will feature 15 minutes of practice, 10 minutes of qualifying and a 20-minute race. There's a 5-minute break following the conclusion of the first race to the beginning of the second race, and that's still got your 10-minute practice, qualifying and then a 20-minute race. Each winner will collect 25 points towards the championship, with points being awarded to the top 15 drivers. Fuji, so it's not been on the service too long, but it first opened in 1965. Fuji Speedway has undergone numerous reconfigurations to get it to its current layout. The 5th and most recent design, authored by the internationally recognised Herman Tilke, clocks in at 2.835 miles or 4.563 kilometres and features 16 turns. Its front stretch is responsible for nearly a mile of that length, forcing drivers to push for top speed coming out of the final corner, Panasonic, before driving into turn 1. Since 1967, Fuji Speedway has been a frequent host for prominent endurance racers, starting with the Fuji 1000 kilometers that year and evolving into the Fuji 6 hours in 2012. The track hosted its first Japanese Grand Prix in 1976, and the event returned in 1977, 2007 and 2008 respectively. The track has also been a long stable of the Japanese National GT and Formula Series calendars, and its application has been so diverse that it even played host to cycling in the 2020 Summer Olympics. Moving on to Watkins Glen, just south of Seneca Lake amidst the rolling vineyards and woodlands in upstate New York's Finger Lakes region, sits a shrine of American motorsport. Watkins Glen International is more than just a racetrack, it is a birthplace of post-war racing in North America, a worthy test of some of the best drivers to ever sit in a race car. Today, the Glen hosts the NASCAR Cup and Xfinity Series, as well as 6-hour crown jewel of the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Sports Car Club of America, Professional and Amateur Racing, ARCA Maynard Series, and a major vintage race meet. It has all been home to major concerts and other festivals. Over the years, the Glen has been lengthened once and continually upgraded. 4 different configurations of the track are available to iRacing members, and a lap around today's Grand Prix circuit still incorporates much of the original layout. The first turn is known as the 90, a right-hander and a good place to pass. Then it's up toward the S's, a series of 3 fast sweeping apexes leading to the back straight. The car reaches their top speed here before hard braking for the bus stop at the end of the straight. Here the track deviates from its original circuit, the boot, a hammer-headed, shaped up and downhill section of track added in 1971. Turn 9, where the boot rejoins the original circuit, is another fairly quick left-hander, tricky because it's off camber, followed by the even quicker turn 10, and almost flat-out left-hander. The last corner, turn 11, is another fast right-hander that leads out onto the front straight. So that is the final 2 races, folks. So probably on next week's podcast, we'll probably know who the winner is of that championship. So we'll keep you updated in next week's iRacing news. Philip Kraus closes in on IndyCar Bookkicker iRacing Pro Series Championship lead after second win of the season at the WWT Raceway. The perfect strategy played into the lap of private label Team Hype's Philip Kraus on Thursday night. For the second time in 2 weeks, a previous winner returned to IndyCar Bookkicker iRacing Pro Series victory lane, and this time it was Kraus scoring win number 2 of the season at the Worldwide Technology Raceway. In the closing laps, Kraus caught and passed both David Toth from Drago Racing and his teammate Joshua Chin to take the lead for the final time. A caution coming to the white flag put a seal on it as Kraus and Chin crossed the line side by side for yet another 1-2 finish for the PLTH group. With a second win of the year and only 3 races to go, Kraus pulls to within 3 points of the points lead, still maintained by Team Redline's Diogo Pinto, who struggled through the night to finish in 14th. This was definitely a super important race for me and all of my private label Team Hype teammates, Kraus said post-race. It's another oval run. We know we have to perform on these. We have to execute. We don't have the pace on the road courses right now, and after the last race, that was the worst we were ever going to look into points, in my opinion, as long as everything goes to plan. So far, we've ticked 1 box. We've got more ovals to tick, and hopefully we just minimise the bleeding at Laguna to give us the best possible chance. The other driver with 2 wins this year, Team Redline's Eduardo Leo, finished in 4th and sits just 6 points behind his teammate for the points lead. The championship now has 3 races to go, and as Kraus alluded to in his interview, 2 of them are on ovals. Leo proved to be a threat in Gateway, running the majority of Thursday night's event ahead of Kraus. While Pinto holds the crown for the moment, he also has no victories, and his streak of all top 10 finishes came to an end as well. If anything is for certain, this title fight is far from over. So we're just going to have a look at the top 5 in the championship. So in 5th at the moment, Cooper Webster with 167. In P4, Gustavo Ariel in 182. P3, Eduardo Leo with 198. P2, Philip Kraus with 201. And leading just by a mere 3 points with a few races to go is Diogo Pinto on 204. So again, as normal, we'll keep you updated how the end of the season progresses. Well, that brings us to the end of another podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Next week, we should have our first interview on the series for 2024 on the podcast. So we're looking forward to that, folks. So don't forget to check us out on the YouTube version if you want to see the interview live on camera. It will be a recording, shall we say, but filmed live. We're still looking for more guests. We're still looking for sponsors and co-hosts. So anybody's interested in wanting to become an interviewee or join me as a host, please drop me a email on the show's email in the notes below. Until then, everybody, stay safe on track. Happy iRacing.